Yeah, my name is Christopher Clark, or Chris Clark, and I'm the International President and CEO of Children of the Nations that works here locally in Silverdale, but across the world in 5 countries. Ever since I started full-time ministry here in Kitsap County, which was a long time, 45 years ago, I have seen the need to, or the excitement of involving young adults in ministry. I think that really sets them free when they learn how to utilize their gifts. With Children of the Nations, we've seen huge impact by young people. We've taken thousands of people overseas, and many of them are young. We've done lots of internships, and even some of the churches here have full-time pastors that were some of our first interns, which is exciting. I think that involving them early on in our ministry was really pivotal because, again, it created opportunity across the age brackets. You know, when a young person says to another young person, I really care about you and I've come halfway around the world to share the love of Christ with you, that rocks them. A lot of times in our experience with church and also nonprofits, it's usually focused on the little kids or maybe the high schools. There's been a smaller few groups of specifically nonprofits that have worked out a methodology, again, to work with young adults. These people that are still in their formulation ages, but are very impressionable, and they're wanting to find truth, and sometimes that truth has to be walked through with them as they experience life. So doing life with young people is very important. I think a lot of young people in this society today feel alone. They feel isolated. They're on their own. And I think ministry to them is really, really vital. Again, there's nothing better than somebody that comes alongside of a college-age student and shares with them the practical aspects of what it means to walk with Christ. And that is very vital to, I think, the livelihood around the world. How do you reach out to young adults? Of course, when you get as old as I am, you want to pay somebody else to do that because it's very hard to figure out what are these guys thinking and how can I be involved. But don't substitute your engagement and your involvement with your young person because you feel inadequate. Hey, you know what? We all do the best we can do. And the result is that God somehow works through that and speaks through that. It's not your responsibility that your son or daughter responds to the gospel, but it is your responsibility that they're exposed to the gospel in a way that would give them the opportunity to be changed and transformed. I would also encourage you to think ahead for them and think about what they may be able to get involved in, but don't throw it down their throats. Help them to feel like they're a part of that decision-making process. But don't become weary in doing good either. You know, your kids can wear you out, but stick in there. And remember that the story that's being told is a long-term 20, 30-year story, and it may be very discouraging for some of you right now. In a few years, it's going to get better. Just continue with the basics, and God will use that in their lives no matter where they go. It's not just an investment for tonight or this week or next year, but you're really investing in their future. Most of us know that the greatest investment you could ever make is investing in a young person, because that creates the greatest thing a country has, which is its people. And if you want to see change down the road, if you want to kind of pay it forward, you invest in the young people, and they will bring it forward. What they've seen you do tonight, and as you're involved with this ministry, they too will want to emulate, and they too will want to do the same. I remember some of the first days when we had our young kids, and my son Bryce would watch me when I would get into these countries and the beggars would come up. And I always noticed him paying attention to who I would give to and who I wouldn't. And I know that in his own life, he's been thinking about how does he invest his wealth in the kingdoms of the world. So no matter what, God is going to use you to impact these kids for eternity. I always tell our staff, our kids, everyone is whatever God puts in your hand, go for it. Do something with what He's put in your hand. Don't go, well, is it good enough? Can I make anything of this? He will make something of it, but you got to step out in faith. And that's what these young people are being challenged to do through this ministry.